Hey, good evening, Stronger Together. I'm Janessa with Fiercely Radiant Soul, and I am so glad to be joining you here this evening. I'm rocking my self care attire as I just went to an incredible restorative experience with a sound bath. And so I made some space for some self care today, which was really needed. This week has been lovely. I'm busy. So I hope you all are finding some time for your own self care practices and making it a priority in your life. Conveniently, I think that self care goes right along with our topic of sacrifice. So we will be talking a little bit more about self care here this evening as we talk about this topic. As you jump on, feel free to say good evening, hello, ask any questions that you have. I'm very curious if sacrifices are a part of your relationships, how it shows up, if it's only in certain relationships, if it's across the board. I've really had to shift my concept of sacrifice throughout the years to have healthier and stronger relationships with other people. And it's a topic that comes up very frequently in relationships as well. So I thought it would be a good topic to look at here in this group as well. Hey Shannon, thanks for jumping in. Uh, Getting my phone set up here because it's much easier with the comments, as you guys all hear us talk about all the time with technology and Facebook. So, sacrifice, I want to start with the definition of sacrifice. I feel like that's really important to understand the definitions of the words that we use because so often we each take on our own definition of a word within our culture or society. Some words get kind of, I want to say twisted, but they will take on a different connotation. So, the actual definition of sacrifice, of course, there's the like animal sacrificing where we kill something for a god. That's not what we're talking about here this evening, but it's giving up something of value for the sake of something else that has more value or is more worthy or is more important. So that is the definition of sacrifice that we are going to be talking about with our relationships. Now, for me, long ago, sacrifice looked like giving up my morals, my values. And so when I say that there is something of value, I'm not necessarily talking about money that has an energetic or monetary value and giving that up for something else. There's a difference between exchange and sacrifice, right? So in my young years, I sacrificed my integrity or morals of being in a relationship with someone who used drugs. And so that never aligned with my personal moral compass, but I wanted to be loved and I wanted to have connection and I wanted to have someone who was always there for me. And I believe that sacrifice was just a part of relationships, all relationships that just came with the territory. So does it matter how big the sacrifice is? Maybe not. I learned the hard way with some things and I learned with some real big bumps in the road that there really shouldn't be sacrifices in relationships, perhaps compromises, but mostly we should do things out of love. I also discovered with my friends, I made a lot of sacrifices kind of along the same theme. Perhaps with drinking or with other activities that I just never really felt like I fit in for some time in my life. I did want to do those things, but then as I grew and changed and evolved and stepped away from some of that, I would still find myself engaging in those activities with friends just to be able to have space to be with those friends. And it wasn't fulfilling. Neither was my relationship with my early young love. That wasn't fulfilling either. So there are these small sacrifices that we make, and then there are the really big moral sacrifices that we make. And none of them fuel or feed or uplift or fulfill our relationships. Parents sacrifice all the time with kids. And so that is another avenue where sacrifice so frequently comes up for people, that they feel like they have to sacrifice so many different things in order to be the parent that they want to be. And that sacrifice just naturally is a part of parenting. Clearly, lifestyle changes occur in parenthood, but sacrifices, I'm going to challenge that there's not necessarily space for them, even within parenting. When we're coming from a space of love, doing things for our significant others or our children or our friends because we love them and we want to share joy with them, happiness, we want to see them healthy, we want to see them thrive. That is when we are having a balanced, healthy investment into the relationship. And when we do so with people who are equally supportive of our dreams, our aspirations, the things that are in our best interest, we will have an equal energy exchange and be able to meet people where they are and have them meet us where we are, and we are stronger together. And that's really truly what we are wanting to go for with our relationships and find that happy space within them. Now, that can be easier said than done. There are mindset shifts that have to happen along the way to get to that space. um, my significant other, a lot of it's built into his personality, but he is 100% all about we should do what makes us happy, even if that means that individually we're seeking out different activities and different, perhaps social circles, whatever that means. If it's what sets our heart and soul on fire, he 100% believes that's how it should be. He was really good for me in that regard when we got together because I still danced around with these ideas of sacrifices. Hi, Sammy Joe. Thanks for jumping in here this evening. And the first few times I heard that, I'm like, yeah, I agree with you. But my actions didn't align, even though cognitively I felt like, yeah, that's a great idea. But wait, because I'm not sure I want to spend my Saturday night not together when we haven't seen each other all week. So it really made me examine, am I doing this from love or am I doing it because I want connection or there's some deeper needing, yearning, emptiness that I'm trying to fill from people around me rather than getting it directly from source, from creator. So those things come in and they come in completely subconscious. Usually we are completely not tuned into it. So it's kind of sneaky and it's kind of tricky. But there's one way that we can truly tell that this is something that's influencing us and our decisions and behaviors because it can't be filled. But other people will have that same thing where they're trying to fill themselves. And that's when they will perhaps persuade, influence, to have you step into their behaviors or what they want so that they can be filled instead of getting that also from source or God or universe or whatever that is for you, creator. So, what happens when everything else has more value than even our needs? And I feel like things such as sleep for parenting, that is not necessarily something of value. That is something that we all need to be healthy, to be balanced, to live and to thrive. But I would hear a lot of parents say that sleep has to be sacrificed in order to be a parent. is absolutely true. Your sleep is going to be affected and interrupted in being a parent. This is where I'm really getting you to try to see the difference in the mindset and the thought process. Are you sacrificing your sleep as a parent, or are you changing your lifestyle and getting up in the middle of the night out of love for your children to make sure that they're cared for and that their needs are met? Some might say it's one and the same. When we can clear away all the unconscious patterns that influence that, we can truly show up in a space of love. When we clear away those unconscious patterns, we can truly show up in a space of love. Now, there was a great question that was asked before this live about what happens as a parent when you're doing all of the things and there's no one else there to do them. So you have to cook, you have to clean, you have to feed the children, you have to get up with them, you have to do it all. That's a very challenging place to be. And obviously, the gas tank is going to run dry. Now, if you're always sacrificing yourself for all of these things, then to me, that points to these unconscious programmings and an self worth uh, issue, if you will. Don't love the word issue, but self worth imbalance. Because when we truly love ourselves, we're going to know that we can show up better for our children when we ourselves are balanced. So some days, yeah, maybe the dishes aren't going to get done because other things came up. And some days, maybe the laundry is going to pile up. And that's okay too, because there's other priorities. But if you're always running on empty, how are you viewing yourself? How worthy and deserving are you of having your needs met too? Because our children are a reflection of us. And so when we shift our own energy and our own patterns, the children will actually follow. That's really cool to see it, especially in real time and real life. Um, but it all starts really with the parents. So when the parent is worthy and deserving, the children are going to see that the parent is worthy and deserving. And not only that, but parents who honor self care time or some alone time, then the children too are going to learn and develop that. But if the children believe that every time that they scream or have a need, that the parent's going to drop everything and, essentially cater to that child, the child isn't going to learn those self care, self responsibility skills. So there has to be a balance in between of the all or nothing. Sometimes, even with parenting, we get caught up in these unconscious programs where we're just really maybe needing the attention, the adoration, the connection, trying to be the ideal parent, an ideal that can never be obtained or met. So I'm just going to shift a little bit of energy here this evening for everyone on this call or anyone watching on replay to be able to release for any of those relationships where you're feeling you're really caught up in making these sacrifices, whatever it is that you're trying to fill from external rather than source, we're going to release those so that you can actually have that fulfillment, whether it be attention or connection or unconditional love or respect. There's so many different things. So take some deep breaths. Just release and shift the energy. Allow, receive, and accept. And really, when it comes to sacrifice, this is a great topic to dig into even further than just sitting here and listening to this short, maybe 10-minute talk about it. Do some journal prompts. Where do you feel like there's unfulfillment in your relationship? Where do you feel like you agree to do things or overextend yourself emotionally in ways that aren't fulfilling. Those are great journal prompts to sit with and reflect upon and discover where this is showing up the most for you. Because until there's awareness, there's not a lot of shifting that can occur with it. So if you guys have any other questions about sacrifice, how it shows up for you, sometimes when we first think about sacrifice and that there is really no room for sacrifice in a relationship, it feels a little bit like a utopian idea. It really truly is attainable. I assure you it is. It just takes a little mindset, a little boundaries, a little self love, self worth, and you'll be amazed at how the relationships shift, how your needs will get met too, the respect that will be shown to you. It's all really empowering. And our empowerment always lies by going within, always. I also wanted to talk with you guys a little bit about allergies here this evening. We have an allergy workshop coming up next Saturday, April 30th at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. It is going to be in person in Lincoln, or also you can attend virtually. And if Saturday you're busy or have an obligation, the replay will also be available. And the benefits of that are solid no matter which way you choose to attend. So, how is it that allergies can be healed? Isn't that an interesting thought? We mostly hear within our society, if you will, that allergies, hi, Allie, allergies can't be healed or they're just permanent, and they really are not. So, let's talk a little bit about how allergies form. In this mind body connection, that is our human experience. What creates our body to respond to something as though it's harmful or a pathogen, an invader of some kind, that we have whatever reaction from hives to itchy, runny, puffy eyes, congestion, coughing, scratchy throat, you name it, right? There's a bunch of different ways that allergies can affect people. So, what actually happens is trauma. Trauma happens. And you guys probably already know, but just in case anyone out there this is new to them, the unconscious mind versus the conscious mind, our unconscious mind stores a gazillion different things, and it's a sponge and soaks up every minute of the day, while our conscious mind is only able to handle a handful of items at one time. So, when trauma occurs, whether it's big or small, our unconscious mind is recording all of the things around us that's present when it happens. And then it decides, oh, these pollens or grass or a tree, whatever it is, it was part of a traumatic event. And then we have an allergy response anytime that we are exposed to what is essentially a trauma trigger, because the unconscious mind, it's there to defend us and keep us safe, and when it determines that something may harm us, it is going to do whatever it takes to keep us away from that potential harmful thing. Now, if you've never heard this philosophy before with allergies, it may take a little bit to wrap your mind around that, because the conscious mind thinks that it decides all the things, but it really only decides about 10% of things that happen in our life. So for me personally, an example of allergies, for thankfully it was a brief-ish amount of time, because I was not too far away from my holistic journey beginning when this happened. But in April of 2000 and I don't even know, 5 maybe, I was in a car accident. And I was T-boned on the driver's side door by someone driving approximately 50 miles an hour. It was a pretty severe car accident. Luckily, I was able to walk away from it. But it was obviously a very impacting event in my life, and it took some years, honestly, to heal from that experience. Now, after that car accident, when the next spring rolled around, I was on my couch. I could barely function. I felt like I had the worst cold in the world, but it wasn't a cold and it was just these allergies and I was congested and the fatigue was crazy out of control. And the foggy, cloudy state that I was living in was really disgusting. And when I healed through the trauma of my car accident, my spring allergies went away. It was a nice, lovely little side effect. So that's how it works. It's really, truly that simple. But we don't have to know what trauma did we experience? What what was the scene? I mean, I obviously know exactly where I was, the intersection, the trees up the road, you know, yeah, I remember it all because it was such an impactful portion of my journey. But even these smaller traumas that occur when we don't remember, we don't have to know them to be able to heal. And that is the amazing part of this workshop that we've put together is to get relief from these allergy symptoms that so many people are suffering. And allergies are starting earlier every year, and there's more pollen, and there's reasons for that. And we'll talk about that in the workshop as well. But allergies are getting more and more intense for people, and we want to bring relief. And so that is the holistic approach to alleviating these allergy symptoms so that people can be outside, have hobbies, man, mow the yard, not be miserable, whatever it is, plant your garden, grow your flowers. Those are incredible hobbies and joys in life that we should not physically have ramifications for doing. So, if allergies are a thing for you, check into this workshop that we're offering next Saturday. We'll be sure to drop the link in the comments so that you can get registered and you'll receive an email with the link to join us. Or you can get into the platform and the link should be posted there as well when you sign up. One of the most amazing allergy relief things, healings that I did, it was really brief. It took about 5 minutes and it's a pretty cool story. It dealt with approximately a 40-year-old who had allergies to ragweed forever. And they were getting owned by their allergies. And we did brief tapping. Literally, like I said, it took about 5 minutes. And they haven't been miserable with ragweed allergies ever since. Their backstory was having rolled a four-wheeler in a pasture, and the ragweed pollen was in the air at that time. And so simply shifting that energy that quickly allowed for them to have relief from their allergies. So cool stuff with that. Very empowering, and it's worth its weight in gold rather than suffering from allergies every year for the rest of our lives. The last thing I wanted to just share with you guys is the incredible things that we're seeing within the connection calls that we are having every other Thursday, the second and fourth Thursday of the month at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Within these connection calls, we all jump into Zoom and we have guided healing by myself and Sammy Joe. And if you haven't checked out any of Sammy Joe's lives here within the community or on on her page, Crystalline Currents, please do. She's incredible. She offers shamanism and crystal healing amongst many other intuitive gifts and healing abilities. And we join together and walk people through whatever they are needing to support them in their relationships and journey. And as I mentioned earlier in this video, the key is always by going within. So within those guided sessions, we are going in to regain our empowerment to heal the things within ourselves that yields different response from individuals in our life, our relationships, our friendships, our parenting abilities, all of it across the board. Coworkers, work relationships, all of it shifts. And we had one individual report to us that they had someone in their family not speak to them for many years. And the day after one of the calls, this family member reached out to them. And how cool is that? That you can show up Maybe because you're frustrated with yourself that you just simply can't focus and get some things done. And the ripple effects of what you're experiencing within those calls can be life changing, or, I mean, changing of your whole family dynamic to be able to repair and renew and revive relationships and hardships. So don't underestimate what you can achieve and what outcomes you can have within those calls. They're incredibly powerful. If you jump into those calls, into that membership, you also get, I believe it's 12 courses at this point available to you to help you adjust your own energy to be in your highest vibration, showing up as your very best self with your mindset on the things that you want to obtain without allowing that doubt and fear and lack of confidence and all the other things that creep in this human experience from tripping us up and holding us back. And then, yeah, you get those 2 calls each month. So, oh, and I was going to also mention that all of the recorded calls are also at your fingertips once you jump in there. So you will get all of those experiences made available to you. So if you guys have any questions, you can drop them in. I am going to wrap it up here this evening. I would love to hear from you if anything shifts for you within your relationships, if you feel like there are some new boundaries you're going to instill so that you're no longer making sacrifices, but rather acting out of love for those loved ones in your life. I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to shoot me a private message or just leave some comments in this live feed as well. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I will see you very soon.